Hello everyone and welcome to Scran. On this episode, I'm finding out about pairing drinks and music with guests Dougie Payne from Travis, Sam McGregor, founder of brewery Signature Brew, and Felipe Schrieberg of the Rhythm and Booze project. Hello everyone, we are done with dry January, so on to two of my favourite things, music, beer and spirits. How is everyone?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Good, yeah. We all good?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, Roz, thanks so much for having us on. Just excited to chat about how the different ways in which beautiful booze and lovely music can come together, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long winter and Christmas is a distant memory. And if anyone has done dry January, they'll be absolutely dying for a drink. So this is a great place to start. So Dougie, I'll begin with you. Travis are back with a new album and you've partnered with the likes of Springbank and Campbelltown and Signature Brew. So can you tell us how and why these collaborations came about?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. There's a song in the new record. The record's called L.A.Times. And there's a song in the new record called Raze the Bar, which is about a real bar in New York, which didn't have a name. But everyone called it Black and White because the awning was black and white. And our friend Johnny T had this bar, and during COVID, it was the best bar. It was amazing. It was like all the bands that passed through New York hung out there. We filmed a video in there once. It was just everyone was super cool. The drinks were great. Cheap. Nobody cared who you were, what band you were in. It was just a great place to hang out. And during COVID, the landlord decided he just was hiking up the prices, and they had to move out. So what they did was they took a truck to the bar, emptied because it was beautiful, and they emptied every fitting, every fixture, the bar itself, the beer taps, everything. They took it out, put it in this truck, and just drove it to storage. This bar is in storage somewhere. And so the landlord couldn't just take it and sell it on as a going concern or whatever. So we loved that place. And the song, Raze the Bar, R-A-Z-E, Raze, is a kind of imaginary last night in that bar because we never got to say goodbye to it. And so there's a line in it, Johnny and Jack are drinking whiskey and beer. And so all the characters in the song are real people. And so when the opportunity or the idea came about why don't we have a whiskey and have a beer? And so the Springbank people up in Campbelltown came to Glasgow and we did a tasting with those guys, and they were really enthusiastic about doing this limited one. I think it was one cask or two casks. It was something like 280 bottles, extremely limited. I think we got one each, put it that way. And so that came about, and Sam, our manager, had seen the Signature guys and their collaborations with musicians, and thought that it would be great to have our own whiskey and beer. And so we ended up going to the brewery down in London and met the guys down there, and were so impressed with their knowledge and their enthusiasm, and it just seemed like a really good marriage. So we have got our own whiskey and our own beer now.
Have you tried both to the song? Have you sat and listened to it and had your sort of half and half?
Do you know what? I haven't actually done it to the song, but I have. I've had a beer on stage, kind of before playing the song. But it's a lovely thing, you know. It's just a nice kind of tie-in. The whole thing just ties up really nicely.
And Sam, that brings me to you. So you've created this beer. Can you just sort of go back and tell us a bit about your business and how you do what you do?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Basically set up Signature Brew in 2011 with my cousin. He's a brewer, and I'm a I've been told to stop saying this, but I'm a pretty average musician. I could be the worst trombonist on this podcast, but we're not sure. But let's go with that. And I basically was touring musician, and I worked in the music industry, and just got tired of drinking terrible beers at gigs, which I think is still, 13 years along is still a problem. So we thought, well, how can we fix this problem? We'll make a beer with some musicians, and that'll solve the problem. They'll have to sell it at the venues. We can sell it to their fans. We were super passionate about beer, and we wanted to bring it into where live music was happening. So we did that, and since then we've worked with more musicians and bands than any other beer company in the world, and we've become known for that. So lots of different bands. I'm sitting in a room now with all different pictures of bands that we've worked with, from the Libertines, the Rifles, Subways. I'm just reading out the posters that I can see, really, but Enda Shikari, Professor Green, loads. All I'm trying to think of some of the other ones, but yeah, loads. Mogwai, if we're talking about Scottish people. But yeah, and when we kind of got the call from Travis and they said that they wanted to come and visit us, we were well up for it. And the thing that Dougie's just described, they're some of the best ones, where it's got a real story and a real narrative and a real thing that fans can understand about why it's happened. Why we've gone to all this effort to create a beer with a musician or a band, and brought that to the fans. And we believe that we're making beer that makes music better. So when the thing that we should all do now, we should all go and listen to Raze the Bar, and get a Raze the Bar from where your local beer supplier or our website or whatever. Get hold of the Travis whiskey if you can. So that's kind of why Signature Brew exists. And yeah, as I say, we've done it loads and loads of times, and we sell our own beers as well. So we've got our own beers, Roadie IPA, Backstage IPA, all kind of themed and inspired by music. But the collaborations are what kind of sets us apart, and the thing that we've been doing for a long time. So I think that answer your question. I just waffled there for a little bit.
Definitely. No, it's great. And do the different bands, do they have different requirements for the beer? So do they have something in mind that they want, or is it influenced by the music? Is it, do you listen and think that's quite a hoppy IPA, or that's more a stout, or what is it? What's the process behind it?
Yeah, the process, it can vary dramatically. So when we work with different artists, they've all got kind of different ideas. Sometimes they come with a fully formed idea ready. Sometimes we just sit in a room and have a bunch of different beers with the entire band, and we talk it out. So it can go down very narrow rabbit holes and get a bit unusual, or it can be kind of, okay, this is the concept, this is what we're thinking for the song or whatever it's inspired by, and then we can build a recipe around that. So we'll involve the brewers, we'll do test batches. We've got a small pilot kit, we can make a few hundred litres at a time, and we'll do that. And it can be as long or as short a process as we want. But the thing for us is all the artists have always got to be involved. Like, it's got to be real. And I think that's what really comes across. And when we can have these type of conversations where, I'm super confident that, I could hand this beer to a Travis fan and tell them that story, and they know that it's real. So yeah, the process but it's always fun. I guess that's the sometimes it's a long time, but it's always fun.
And Dougie, did you guys know what kind of beer you wanted based on the song?
Yeah, it also ties into not just the new record, but way back in our history, which is why I think it's quite a good kind of story of the whole thing. But we used to rehearse above the legendary Horseshoe Bar in Glasgow. We had Neil worked there, and there was a room, just a vacant room that had been a recording studio 2 floors up above where you do the karaoke, and so Neil got, through a bit of a blag, managed to get to use that room for nothing. And so we would go climb the stairs, lug our amps up and whatever, and just go and rehearse and try and get good. And it was always very hot, very sweaty, just kind of in this little room. And when we'd done, at this point, apart from Neil, we were all just signing on, and we were a bit skint. So we'd go down to the bar, and sometimes if we were feeling flush, we'd get a pint. And sometimes we'd even get one each. And it was always Tennent's. It was always a pint of Tennent's. And I know, Sam, you'll probably disagree, but I still love a pint of Tennent's. I think if it was like in Italy, we'd price it up and sell it like it was Moretti or something. But I think it's a cold, clean pint of Tennent's was just at that point the best thing in the world. And so we kind of wanted to take that idea, what that was like, and what it felt like after a kind of hard evening's rehearsal. Get that, but the guys at Signature Brew and Sam just made it. They elevated it. They elevated that idea, and they introduced other flavor profiles. Like there's a citrus kind of, just a little bit of citrus in the back of the tongue, and it's delicious. It's delicious, and it does exactly what we all kind of wanted it to do. It's redolent of that experience, but also it feels contemporary and it feels a bit more modern.
Felipe, I'll come to you. You're no stranger of drinks and music with your Rhythm and Booze project. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I have a smile on my face because everything you guys are talking about, it's exactly the kind of stuff that we think about and have been thinking about for years. So I wear two hats on the music and booze front. The first is the actual band, which is the Rhythm and Booze project. And that's a two-piece with me playing lap steel guitar and singing, and my drummer / business partner, as these things have to go these days. And so we started out with simply being, two guys that had played together for a long time, who loved whiskey. And we had the genius idea in 2012 now, why don't we go out to Islay, one of the world capitals of whiskey, and just do our little tour of the island and play in pubs and hotels and bars. And we don't want money. We want food, we want a bed, and we want whiskey. And so we go out there, and one of the gigs we do in this very dodgy hotel that has since closed down or gotten remodeled, this rather merry lady comes up to us and she goes, "Boys, I like you. I'm the distillery manager of Lagavulin, and you're coming into my office tomorrow, and I'm going to destroy you." We're just like, "You're not the distillery manager of Lagavulin. You are in no fit state to be the distillery manager of Lagavulin. No way." But we love Lagavulin. So we went in the next day, and Georgie Crawford, a legend in the industry, was indeed the distillery manager of Lagavulin. And she locks the door to her office, takes no calls, starts out with 3 fingers worth of new make spirit, and we go from there, and proceeds to, as she had promised, destroy us. During that session, she says, "Hey, you boys should play the Fay Shield." And we're like, "The what? And it turns out there is a whiskey festival that lasts over a week every year. So thanks to Georgie, we started playing the Faish as a two-piece. Our first festival was in 2013. We've been going every year since and playing there at a bunch. We've played almost all the distilleries by this point, done all kinds of little things there. And over the course of those gigs, after a few years of doing that, we were thinking, well, hang on, these are some of the best gigs we've ever done. Why don't we do this the rest of the year? So we started putting together what we call our music and whiskey nights. So it started out with what we call half gigs, half tastings, half house parties. We get 8 to 10 whiskeys. People pay for a ticket. They get to drink all the whiskeys. We're laying down some music, chatting about the whiskeys. It's small and it's intimate. And the idea is everybody gets to chat to each other. Everybody gets a chance to talk to us if they want to find out more about the whiskeys. And we're just laying down some fun tunes because blues and whiskey goes very well together. So off the back of that, we started looking at different ways in which we can expand that spirits and music idea. So we built a bass drum out of an entire cask of Lagavulin. That project we did pre-pandemic, and that was a lot of fun. We believe, though we've not checked too hard, it was the first ever bass drum built out of an entire cask of Scotch whiskey. We stretched goat skin over either side of the drum, so that was cool. So that was one way that we could try and experiment with that. And then we also have a theater show now that we do at the Edinburgh Fringe every year, where it's like an edutainment show of where we're playing blues tunes, but we're also talking about whiskey, and we're serving whiskey during the show. So this last year we did 34 shows in 17 nights, and sold out pretty much every ticket because people see good value because in the Fringe you don't know anymore if it's going to be good when you pay 15 quid for a ticket. You see our listing and you think, well, it might not be good, but they're serving whiskey, so I'm probably going to get my money's worth. So we've done well off of that, and we've toured that show a little bit as well, done stuff with distilleries and whiskey festivals. Off the back of that leads into the second bit, which is Rhythm and Booze Records, and that is our hybrid record label and independent bottler, where so far we have just 2 releases of our own music. We have a whiskey and we have a rum. We have original music that we have paired with each release we've done. The idea is that the music goes with the spirit goes with the music. The music we have on that bottle is not available online. It is exclusive to the bottle. Spotify, as these gentlemen will know, is a piece of garbage. We are not interested. So the idea is that by scanning a QR code on the bottle, that takes you to a private link that takes you to the music exclusive to the bottle. The whiskey we paired with our blues duo. And so with the blues duo, you've got this rootsy, stripped down sound, and we have a single sherry cask blended malt with that. And the idea is you've got something that's fruity, a bit leathery though, a little bit smoky because there's a little bit of peat in that blend. It's a blended malt single cask, go figure. So the idea is that profile goes very well with that sound. And then with my drummer / business partner that I just mentioned, we also have a Latin pop quartet where I sing original songs in Spanish. We barely ever gig, but we wanted to record the project because we were quite proud of it. And so we recorded it in a very lovely studio up in Granton. And we put that on a 4-year-old rum that when we tried it, we loved it because that 4-year-old rum, if you were to try it blind, and if I was to tell you it was a 30-year-old grain whiskey, you'd believe me. So those were the guinea pigs. We tried it with our own music to see if the concept works. It seems to work. So then next year, we're now starting to work with other bands that we can bring into play with spirits that we're sourcing. We are hoping in a few months to release the first whiskey that isn't featuring our music. We want to try and expand the concept and bring in other bands. My ultimate dream, once we scale up into a larger sort of business, is to blend to the music. I'd love to blend a whiskey to the music that we bring in from bands that we admire and want to work with. So that's the 2 different music whiskey hats that I wear, with apologies for rambling a little bit.
No, it's fine. I can just imagine you dancing about while blending stuff.
Have you ever played any breweries? Can I book you?
Oh man, done. Yeah, done. Yeah. We've have I played? No, we've not. Just because we've kept it at whiskey, really, and spirits. We flirted with rum, but yeah, no. I think. Well, as you guys, I'm sure will agree with me. I think in terms of how culture and music can fit into drinks, we're at the tip of the iceberg. And most of what's been done around this has tended to be gimmicky, in my opinion, with some exceptions. What you guys are doing is brilliant and absolutely is the way forward. But we're at the tip of the iceberg in terms. Well, we can get into this later because I'm an egotistical American, so I can start to ramble a little bit. But the opportunities of, especially with whiskey in particular, where the sales have been really bad, and where people have found this whole premiumization thing quite off-putting, I think the solution is culture and the arts. And there's such an opportunity there that brands are not getting and not grabbing. So yeah, I think this is an important thing to be able to do. And in doing so, you're helping support the arts, which are getting so starved across the board as well.
I think like I say, a lot of the music and drinks marketing in the past has been, gimmicky, crass. It's literally, I probably shouldn't go on to a national podcast and start naming major brands, but it's just, I think big brands thought they could buy it, and I think the reason that they get it wrong is it's hard, it's complicated, it's culture, and you have to have a level of understanding of it to be able for it to work. But yeah, I agree. I think the sort of end result of that is over time people are used to it being Reading and Leeds sponsored by Carling, and that's what they're used to. So when it starts to be a bit more nuanced and interesting, it kind of can confuse some people. So, an outline of somebody playing, drums and your beer brand, it just isn't enough. So yeah, all that stuff sounds really. We should definitely chat. Are you in Scotland?
I live in the north of Poland.
That was my next guess.
Bit of a, yeah. Oh, can't you tell, good sir? Yeah. So, but I lived in Scotland for 11 years. I lived longer in Scotland than I ever did in the U.S. actually. And then I was in London for a few years before we moved out here. My partner's Polish. That's why most foreigners move to Poland. But all my work is in the UK. So next week I'm traveling to London because we're doing a Burns night special, Burns poetry, blues, and whiskey. And we do that every year. In Bermondsey. Are you based in London?
Yeah. The breweries. I live in London, and the breweries in London. But yeah,
we're gonna come visit you. Ben, we'll see you next
definitely.
week.
So
We're
we've,
just
we've had a successful team at collab. You might have this might be the next collaboration. You heard it here
Yeah.
first.
Well, Roz, I
Although I would
apologize
say
for turning this podcast into a networking session.
no,
I'm
no,
so
it's
sorry.
no, it's fine. It's I understand what you're saying about the big festival sponsored by Carling, but I think I'm not the only one here who would say I really miss tea in the park.
Oh,
Talking
yeah,
about tennis.
me too.
Wish they bring it back. Fingers
I
crossed,
know.
maybe.
That is the flip side of it, is that these big companies have got enormous amounts of money and they've propped up lots of this music stuff just by sheer money. So, it can't all be, it's not all bad, but yeah, marketing wise, I think it can be pretty straightforward.
Do you have a sort of favourite music and drink pairing that's not your own?
I mean, I do like listening to jazz and whiskey, and I don't do it enough. But yeah, I think for me, yeah, like session IPAs and punk rock is probably the road most travelled for me personally.
And Dougie?
I can't, I mean, this is not beer or whiskey related, but I can't resist listening to a Scott Walker album. Probably Scott 2 or Scott 3 with a really good bottle of red. Can't resist it. It's a dream combination.
And Felipe?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go with the stereotype. I mean, blues and whiskey is a classic for a reason, and there's a reason there's been so many blues songs written about whiskey, and also similarly, whiskey inspiring many incredible blues songs as well. There's some amazing stories there. But yeah, like classic. I mean, I'm a blues guy, but Chess Records for me is Chess Records blues from the 50s, 60s. That to me is the holy grail. You put that on with the good sort of creamy bourbon profile whiskey, or on the flip side, something intensely smoky. It'll work 100% of the time.
And this whole, what we're talking about, basically really good quality drinks with music and people really taking time to listen, whether it's at home or enjoying a really good drink while at a gig. Do you think it sort of talks to the wider trend of, like listening bars in Europe and people just maybe taking a bit more time to like have an experience and enjoy themselves rather than be on their phone or like rushing about? Felipe, I'll come to you.
Yes. Pretty much.
It's a short
I would
answer.
say yes. I think it's that the biggest shift we've seen with music, in my opinion, is through social media and streaming. Music has now become, to a big extent, consumed almost as a soundtrack, as background music to a large extent. That's the default mode of listening to it now. Now the top end songs, or so many of the big songs, the reason they find success is because of their use as TikTok songs. So that's the general trend that we've seen happen as streaming has helped shape the ecosystem of how we listen today. So where before, if you consider the romantic side of what it used to be that, you buy a record and my God, you treasured that record. And when you put it on, when you put the vinyl on, that's a ritual. It might be a simple ritual, but it's a valuable ritual that you value. So there's intrinsic value in everything to do with listening and appreciating music that I think to a big extent is gone, for mostly for worse, to some degree for better. But there's many different roads you can go down there in discussing that. So then because of that, you do then see the flip side of that, people that want to be able to create the space through which you can appreciate something and be in the moment for it and feel the presence, and be present in that moment, where so often the ability to be present is just simply denied to us through how our lives are structured these days, right? So yes, that's the long way of saying yes to you.
And Dougie, what about you? You guys have been around for quite a long time. I had your first CD 20 odd years, which is probably making us both feel really old. Have you seen that in terms of just how people consume music has changed over the years?
Yeah, I mean, what Felipe is saying is completely correct. it is a much more disposable and short-lived experience now listening to music, when actually your arms are this length so that you can carry a record under it. This is the point. I think the technology and music have always had a very symbiotic relationship. And technology affects music, music can affect technology. But I think what's happened recently, maybe over the last, it's only 10 years or so since the streaming kind of thing has taken over, has fundamentally, systemically changed people's relationship with music. And I think what you're talking about, what you guys are all talking about having an immersive experience in the moment of listening to an album. My God, imagine sitting and listening for 40 minutes instead of 30 seconds. That's what music's for. The album is a perfect art form. It's perfect art form. It's perfect length. It's your physical relationship with it. You're putting the needle on the whole thing is an immersive experience. And I feel like it is a shame that is kind of dissipating. There are rays of light and rays of hope. Like my kids, they are buying records now. They're keen on actually having turntables in their rooms, and but I don't know whether that's just because they're surrounded by my vinyl and they're like, oh, that's what you do. So, but the volume of music out there, and the fact that everybody can make their own music and everybody's got a studio in their house, basically, that's fantastic. That's great. That gives an amazing opportunity to people with talent, but maybe not kind of other opportunities to put their music out there. The downside of that is that there's just such a vast amount of music that it's almost impossible to start digging and trying to find the good stuff. It's like mining for a diamond in a mountain, and so it's as with all things, it's a double-edged sword. But I do think that this kind of conversation about the relationship between another sensory experience, whether it's having a glass of wine or a glass of whiskey or a beer or whatever, with music, that assists you in being in the moment. And if you're in that moment, then you want it to be quality. You want to be having a quality experience. You don't want to be drinking, mention no names, you want to be drinking something that is delicious and enhances that moment and enhances your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And we can't talk drinks and music without talking about festivals. You guys are going on what looks quite a grueling tour. Will you be doing the festival circuit this summer?
We have been touring kind of extensively the last year, and we've got a month in the States coming up. We go on Sunday, and then after that we've got a little kind of time, and then festivals start kind of late spring, early summer. So as I say, the shows are never grueling. It's the travel.
Oh no, I can imagine, yeah. And Sam and Felipe, do you guys have any interesting releases or news for the next sort of few months that you can tell us about?
We're still in the campaign for Raise the Bar, so I would encourage anyone to go onto our website and try and grab some there, or request it at your local bar. If you're in Scotland, we're about to kind of launch into Scotland this year. So Scotland's got such an awesome music scene. So from like the Hug and Pint, Barrowlands, I did my best ever reverse parallel park outside King Tut's when we played there, like in an ex Royal Mail van. I was so proud of myself. I had one of the first ever like craft beers when I played at Tunnels in Aberdeen. I think it might be gone now. But yeah, you can sort of see the ships from, if you like crouch down on the stage, you could see out the back of the bar into the harbour, and they let us buy the beers for half price in there. And it was crazy. I tried all the different beers. That was probably more than 20 years ago. Anyway, that's not what you're asking. The answer to your question is, yeah, just come and check out Raise the Bar. Like tons of people have not yet tried it. We launched it as part of kind of through Christmas, which has its upsides and downsides. So there's still plenty of Raze the Bar to go around, so come and check it out.
And it is delicious.
Yes, it is.
Obviously, it's delicious.
I got a little bit addicted to it over Christmas, but yeah, I still haven't actually been to a Travis show and drank the beer yet. But I know that some of the other guys at the work have, so that's awesome. I'll have to come to the American shows.
Yeah, do it.
Or smuggle it into one of the festivals.
Oh yeah,
If it's Glastonbury, you don't really have to smuggle it, so that's good. And Felipe, what are you up to? Are you back in Scotland anytime soon?
Soon-ish. We'll be up there in March, but nothing that I can talk about yet. Though we'll have a few things coming up throughout the year. So, I mean, we're playing in London. Oh, by the time this goes out, we'll have already played the show. So we will have played 3 amazing shows in London. But we'll be releasing that new whiskey. So that'll be coming out in a few months. Though, as it is with whiskey, you don't quite know once you go, and I'm sure it's the same with beer. Things that you think will go to a certain timeline never go to the timeline you expect, and they'll be held up by details that you did not think would be a problem. This has been my experience so far as a bottler, and I have no doubt it'll happen again here. So I don't want to put a date on when we're going to put this new whiskey of ours out, but it will come out in the next few months. And then, yeah, beyond that, there'll be things. You can follow us on social media to find out what we've got, but probably not kicking more into high gear until May onwards on our end, as both bottlers and a band. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, guys. It's been great to see and speak to you. Looking forward to trying all the beer and eventually some more whiskies, Felipe. And if anyone ever does want to let me try the Travis Springbank, I'd be more than happy because it sold out within about 5 minutes.
Yeah, double that.
Me.
Thanks to my guests for joining me on this episode of Scran, and thanks to you two for listening. Please remember to rate, review and subscribe, and we'll be back very soon with some more stories from the Scottish food and drink industry.